JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with the visibility in the algorithm, and it is one of the best and easiest ways to help support me. And it's free, completely, obviously. It's just a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Take with Stephen A. and RG3 talking about who's more to blame over Russell Wilson's failure with the Broncos. This seems to be such a popular topic right now. I've shared some thoughts before, but I definitely wanted to emphasize how I feel. I'm really curious to see what Stephen A. has to say and RG3, because to me, there's only so many options here, and it's very, very clear to me, and I have very strong opinions with regards to this. So let's take a listen to see what they have to say, and then we can go from there.
Russell Wilson got paid was going to get paid $242 million to lead the Broncos to Super Bowls. But why would you invest as much as they did into him, trading 5 draft picks and 3 players and all the other things that you gave him, to not fully go all in on him? Hackett was hired, like you said, to bring Aaron Rodgers there, but he didn't. So what did they do for Russ? They paired him with a first-time head coach, a first-time GM, a first-time play caller, and a young roster. They wanted Russell Wilson to go out there and do what Matthew Stafford had done and win a Super Bowl in year 1, and do what Tom Brady had done with the Bucs and win a Super Bowl in year 1. But they didn't give him that Super Bowl supporting cast.
Broncos release Russell Wilson. And basically what this question is, who's most to blame for that situation? RG3, it's Russell Wilson. It's Russell Wilson. 11-19 as a starter. 11-19 as a starter. No playoff appearances in 2 years. Let's throw out this stat. First 3 seasons in the National Football League, Russell Wilson was on a rookie contract, made $2.2 million playing on that rookie third-year contract. Led the Seahawks to a 6-2 postseason record, which included 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl championship, right? Do you know what he's done since the 9 seasons since, Shannon? RG3? What? 3-5 in the playoffs without advancing beyond the divisional round in 9 years, and he's been paid over $264 million. So there's something about, in other words, before he arrived in Denver, there was evidence that once he got his money, he wasn't the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So then you come to Denver. Yeah. Let's take into account and dissect, RG, what Shannon pointed out. And Shannon, listen, we got, let's keep it real here. This is a 3-time Super Bowl champion, sure. Where's a couple of those Super Bowls? That was in Denver. I've been to Denver. Look, why the hell would I be in Boulder, Colorado? All right, I went down there because of primetime Deion Sanders. Right, that ain't too damn far from Denver. All I know is that when I strolled into the downtown Denver, they parted the Red Sea. All of a sudden, reservations were easy to get. People were so nice to me. They saw Shannon Sharpe. I mean, I'm looking.
So I don't know what he's talking about right there in that end part. Who cares? But in terms of who's more to blame here, is it the Broncos? Is it Sean Payton? Is it Russell Wilson? I do think RG3 brings up a valid point. Where did they support Russell Wilson, right? You get all these first year, coaches, GMs, play callers, all of this, and ends up being a disaster from the get-go where they fire the coach, okay? So if you're firing the coach and you're saying this coach isn't good enough, which obviously they did, then you have to throw away that year completely, okay? Now it's the next year with Sean Payton. And the idea is it was not good, then it got better, and then it was not good again. And you then ask yourself, well, did they have a good enough team? Did they still not support Russell Wilson? Did Sean Payton yank the leash too much? And I think the better question is, do you believe, you have to look at it from, you have to ask yourself a few certain questions to be able to, and whether the answer is yes or no is where it then gets you to the next level. So yes or no, do you think Sean Payton is a great coach? Okay. If that answer is yes, and he then said, get rid of Russell Wilson, I do not want him, then boom, Russell Wilson is the problem. If you say no, that Sean Payton is not good enough, he's not this great coach, and he's overinflated, he's a good coach, but he's not amazing, then you could say, okay, then you know what? Russell Wilson was, again, at a disadvantage. Now, the way I look at it is that it's a mixture of both, okay? And I've said this, but it's worth repeating, that if Russell Wilson is a great quarterback and he was just in a bad situation, you would expect at this point in his career that he would still be able to right the ship, okay? When Tom Brady went to the Bucs, it wasn't this perfect situation initially, but they were able to ultimately right the ship. Now, they had a significantly better team, and Tom Brady's Tom Brady, but you were still able to see the composure and see the greatness. And again, it may not be the easiest comparison because we're talking about Tom Brady to Russell Wilson, but there was still enough to be seen. Now, on the other side, if we're saying that Sean Payton is a great coach and Russell Wilson is maybe not a great quarterback, but a good quarterback, then the question is, why couldn't they be better? Like, why would they not be able to do better than what they did? Why is Sean Payton so dead set on getting rid of Russell Wilson? There seems to be this fundamental issue that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson couldn't exist. But Sean Payton took this job knowing the situation with Russell Wilson. So that was seen initially as all right, he has been crowned. Like we know that Russell Wilson's a good quarterback, otherwise Sean Payton wouldn't take that job. But he did, tried to make it work for not even a full season, and then kicked him to the curb. Is Russell Wilson that bad of a quarterback that you can't even give him a full season, or that you can't give him 2 seasons with this coach to try to get things going? It's kind of shocking. And I know Russell Wilson has some of these locker room issues, some of these issues where the players don't, necessarily, live and die for him, which I understand. But the fact that he was not even given that grace, that, okay, we got Russell Wilson. Yes, things aren't going exactly as planned, but we believe next season will be better. If Sean Payton in his heart believed that he could win and right the ship with Russell Wilson, then that's what he would do. He's not getting rid of him just because he hates him so much, because he's, acting like Baker Mayfield did in, year 2 or year 3, or that he's acting like, I couldn't, Jay Cutler or something like that. He's not, it's not like this just awful personality defect where you're just like, Russell Wilson is a monster and a complete diva to the next level. Sure, he has diva tendencies, but it's not like, all hail me here. There's different levels to it. So the fact that Sean Payton, to me, this is where we figure out if Sean Payton is a good coach or not. Okay? Because for him to move off of Russell Wilson at this level, at this point, and taking all that dead money hit, Sean Payton is either going to prove to be an amazing offensive head coach and was able to see Russell Wilson is just not good enough, and I do not want to waste any more time with him. We need to get another quarterback. We need to draft a quarterback. We need to get this ball rolling. We need to start to get something better, because he is not it. Or Sean Payton's going to be exposed as, you know what, he had Drew Brees. He won with Drew Brees, although some could argue that not enough, considering Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, bona fide Hall of Famer, top 15 quarterback of all time, and yet only won 1 Super Bowl. And if Sean Payton now doesn't have success, if Sean Payton doesn't get another quarterback, whether it's through the draft or, acquiring someone else, and doesn't win pretty quickly, you will start to question, is Sean Payton that great of a coach? Because he is in the conversation when they talk about great head coaches, especially offensive head coaches. They always say Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Shanahan, Sean Payton, that he is in that conversation. And if he cannot get another quarterback and win, because think about what Shanahan was able to do with Garoppolo, with Purdy before Purdy, whether you think Purdy's the most amazing quarterback or not, he's not the most amazing quarterback today, right? And that was always one of the biggest things that people say, this is only his second season, this is only his first season, he's only played 10 games, he's only played 15 games. So whether you think Brock Purdy is going to be this great, amazing quarterback, we can agree at least that he is not this next level, amazing, transcendent quarterback just yet. He's still learning and growing. And yet Shanahan was able to get to a Super Bowl with that, multiple NFC championship games. Now, granted, the 49ers obviously have a significantly better roster, right? Without a doubt. But it was still good enough for Shanahan to say, this quarterback is good enough. For him to now, for Sean Payton to just look straight up at Russell Wilson and say, he is not good enough. Even if we get the best team we can get, he is not good enough. That's huge. I mean, that's huge. So to me, it's just what we find out here is Sean Payton kind of a phony? Not that really good of a coach? Or is he actually a great coach and we realize that, you know what, people are trying to really hang on to this notion that Russell Wilson is a good quarterback or a great quarterback, or that, he still has what he had before, or that he was never overrated, that he's just great and he's just been in a tough situation. Because I think Russell Wilson is kind of set up to fail, because I don't see how he goes to the Steelers and succeeds. I don't see how he can go to the Falcons and succeed. Like, I don't know what team he goes to where he now can be like, that's right, I am here. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I never left. I don't see what type of position he lands it in. The only way that would have ever happened would potentially be if Purdy goes down and then they get him. Or, if Stafford goes down and they go out and get him, right? And Mahomes goes down and they go out and get him, right? Like, you partner him up with a true, bona fide, legit, unquestionable, amazing coach and a great roster. But some argue that the Broncos had a pretty decent roster. Again, I'm not here to argue that one way or the other at this point, because at this point it's kind of irrelevant. But to me, I just think the more interesting question is that if we say Sean Payton is a great coach, that's where you start off with. Is he a great coach? Yes or no? If it's yes, well then why couldn't he make Russell Wilson work? Okay? And if Russell Wilson was just truly not that good enough, then he made the great call to say, get rid of him. And if Sean Payton isn't that good of a coach, and he prematurely got rid of Russell Wilson, then he is destroying and damaging the Broncos to a massive degree. And it's really going to be fascinating to see which ends up being true. Either way, we're going to find out. Either way. Because a bad coach can only get around for so long, right? Especially if a quarterback who is maybe making them look better, say a Drew Brees, you will get exploited eventually, right? That is the benefit of, say, why we know Andy Reid is such an amazing coach and how he has elevated Patrick Mahomes, because he had such success with the Philadelphia Eagles, winning consistently with non-Hall of Fame quarterbacks, getting to a Super Bowl with a non-Hall of Fame quarterback, getting to 4 NFC championship games in a row with like 2 Hall of Famers maybe on the entire roster, okay? So we know Andy Reid is that dude, is a bona fide dog, is a GOAT coach. We know that. So when you team him up with a Patrick Mahomes, you know you're just getting magic. Sean Payton won a Super Bowl years ago. Like, he called out, this will be my last point. Stephen A called out Russell Wilson and said, what has he done since he won since he won that Super Bowl, since he went on that back-to-back run with the 2 Super Bowls? What has Sean Payton done? Sean Payton hasn't done anything. He won the Super Bowl with Drew Brees. Yeah, they've had some playoff success, won some games, but not really. One of their last playoff games was against the Eagles with backup quarterback Nick Foles, after they had already won the Super Bowl, and they got really lucky by winning that game because a ball went right through one of the wide receivers' hands for the Eagles. Nick Foles was literally leading the Eagles to a comeback and was going to win that game. And it was just one of those freak plays where the ball just went right between the hands of one of the main wide receivers for the Eagles at the time. Okay, Alshon Jeffrey. So that was luck. So this idea that Peyton just wins no matter where he goes and no matter what quarterback he has, are we saying that Taysom Hill is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson? That's a tough pill to swallow. So to me, the way that I think the reality of this is is that I think Russell Wilson is not that great of a quarterback, and I think Sean Payton is probably not as great of a coach as we all think. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. If you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, please let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. And I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. And I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility in the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.